I don't even have words to describe how upset I am about the demolition of our democracy. The stakes start now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to The Stakes. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is Michelle Kinney. We are the co-founders of the Seneca Project, and we are pissed off and heartbroken like millions of other Americans watching this motherfucker tear down the historic East Wing of the White House. There are so many allegories and metaphors here all at once watching this happen, but I know I'm not alone in the visceral reaction. We're on day 4 of this, right? We were all shocked on Monday when it started. And here we are 4 days later to see the entire East Wing of the White House in rubble, reduced to rubble.
It looks like a terrorist attack happened.
I was just going to say that. I felt similarly when I saw that aerial photo, the way I felt when the Twin Towers fell and when I saw the images of the Pentagon. I legit got that same feeling in
That's
the pit
exactly
of my
when I
stomach.
was putting together all the elements for the show. I was looking at it and I was like, looks like a bomb went off.
I'm still not fully processing that this is real. I still really haven't fully accepted it yet because I have not seen it in person yet.
That's gonna be
yeah, it was like 9/11 too. It's like when I finally went and saw the World Trade Center and what was left of it, the hole in the ground.
Right.
It was just it's hard to put into words like what that feels like when you see that. But to know like that was a terrorist attack.
That was a foreign enemy attacking us. And now we have a domestic enemy attacking us from within. And that is not hyperbole. That is not hyperbole.
It's not. And we're only in the 9th month of this.
Yeah.
And the guy literally has torn down half of the White House. Rafi has decided to join the chat tonight because
he's upset too.
very upset about this.
Totally get it. I mean,
very upset.
Let me just play this clip. This is new footage today. Obviously all of this is going to be upsetting, but we're going to show it. Here we go. Something about it, like the pulling back of it and the quietness of just hearing the demolition. And this is what Donald Trump, so he was meeting with donors and there was some press there outside the other day. This is what he had to say.
Well, people for the evening, and some of the big foreign leaders have been coming. And most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom. The East Room, it's called, is a very small cocktail area. It holds about 88 people if it's tight. And I said, if I do this again, I'm going to get a ballroom built, and we're putting up our own money. The government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh. That's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it. So it's the opposite. But it's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world.
First of all, no one ever wanted a ballroom. Literally no one.
No.
No one cares. No one asked for this.
No.
And the price went from correct me if I'm wrong. I think it went from
200 million,
200 to 250, and now it's 350.
350.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But let's be clear about a few of the things that he just said. First of
Mhm.
all, the fact that anyone would think that it's music to their ears to hear the
Mhm.
demolition of the historic, beautiful White House, which is
Mhm.
one of the greatest symbols of democracy, if not the most recognizable symbol of democracy in the world.
Mhm.
To think that that is a beautiful sound,
Yeah.
that is indicative of how sick and twisted he is,
Mhm.
because no well-adjusted adult who respects our history, our constitution, our democracy would ever say that. Even if it was a restoration project, you would still say like, "Oh my gosh," like you would want to preserve
Mhm.
every last nail
Yeah.
because it's so storied and historic. I mean, the
Well, yeah.
legislation that was signed in the East Room
Oh my gosh.
From the Civil Rights, Act to the Voting Rights Act to the Lilly Ledbetter to
Mhm.
Obamacare, to just name it, some of the most significant legislation of the last 65, 70 years
Mhm.
was took place in that room. And
Mhm.
the hallway, that's where the decorations for the Christmas and, all the famous photos of people walking down
I
that
know.
hallway, the
I think of
priceless, like,
even
art,
that
like
photo of Pete Souza that Pete Souza took of Barack Obama running with the dog
yes,
from
with Bo.
behind with Bo,
Yeah,
and, I mean, I I have a Bo Christmas ornament. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
of course you do.
I have all the dogs. I have Commander. I even have, what was the Commander, the one that bit?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because he was on sale. So,
Uh, that's why, because he was
right. He was a
a bite.
naughty
No,
boy. But I wanna,
beautiful though, beautiful German Shepherds,
beautiful German Shepherd. Right, right,
that
right.
the Bidens had.
I wanted to just throw these up because
Ugh,
this is reporting from the Washington Post that I pulled today from their website and from their Instagram account. It says the East Wing of the White House is completely gone. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, we all knew that hallway was going, and then we saw the bulldozer out there, and nobody knew this was happening. And then I don't know, I was just like, I don't know, tired or something yesterday, and I guess I had missed the whole thing about that the whole thing was going.
well, yeah, I mean, because the story kept changing because
Yes.
it was done just so callously and it felt very reactionary, like, all of a
Mhm.
sudden, this just happened,
Yeah, it
and
felt like no kings. Well, I'm gonna show you king, and I'm gonna do
exactly,
this. And
exactly.
so there it is there, and here's the aerial shot
Oh,
that looks so much.
I
And,
can't.
I wanna preface this by saying that this was not written or even read in jest, because when I saw a tweet, I think it was a tweet, it said, "Donald Trump finished what bin Laden couldn't finish." Like,
Wow,
it was like bin Laden wanted the White House and Trump finished the job.
man, that is do you know who said that?
I don't, I'll find, a friend of mine sent it to me, and
Oh
I
my
was like,
god. I wish I had seen that before I went on MSNBC tonight because I would have said
"Oh,
that. I
yeah.
would have said that. That is a hell of a line.
Yeah,
And to not
you should use it."
not for nothing, we should think about doing something with that at
Mhm.
Seneca and
Well, yeah, I mean,
ending it with that line.
yeah, I mean, listen, when we were at the last place, right,
Mhm.
we made more than one. I think there was 2 or 3 ads where we talked about attack on the Capitol
Yeah.
and how there were a couple attacks on the US Capitol. One of them was from a terrorist organization, and one was from within after January 6th.
Mhm.
And that's the other piece of this too. It's just like they're wrecking it, and
Literally.
they don't care, and they're doing it proudly. And I mean, first of all, this is the East Wing here, and all of it is gone. We see that on the right side of the screen. Somebody was taking off from the airport and took this photograph, and that's what
Wow.
this is from.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's true, because when you take off depending on which direction from
yeah,
National,
yeah,
you do have that it's like a
right. You can
beautiful either
fly over
coming in
that,
or taking off. It's
right?
beautiful.
And so here is just some other photographs from who I believe this Washington Post photographers. This is where I saw it, and I saw that kind of metal,
Like
all
freaking
bent.
9/11.
Yeah, right. This is the photo that got me going, oh gosh. And here's a side by side. On the left, black and white photo of the east wing of the White House from the east side of the building with the fountain looking up those stairs into the columns. On the right-hand side, we're looking at a photo from either today or yesterday, of it completely gone. Completely gone. Unnecessarily. There
Right.
was no reason to do
No,
this.
no, it's purely a fucking vanity project for this motherfucker. It's
Mhm,
a vanity project, just like everything else. And the thing
mhm.
about this isn't your house.
No.
It
Well, that's
belongs
the
to
other part.
us. It belongs to we the people. This is
Yeah.
our house. You are a temporary resident that the American people, unfortunately, gave you the privilege of occupying. Like
Mhm,
you don't get to just do this. And he did because he doesn't care. This is
no.
part of his retribution tour.
Mhm,
He is a child. He is a toddler throwing a temper tantrum
yep.
saying, "I'm going to do whatever I want and you're not going to stop me. Who's going to
Mhm.
stop me?" And I mean, he's literally demolishing our
And
democracy
this yeah.
brick by brick.
And I mean, brick by brick is exactly right. And it's like, and that's the other thing what you were saying just a moment ago about how nothing was preserved in the process. I mean,
No.
you think about even when they tore down the Berlin Wall. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there
Right.
was a process to it. Yes, there was like an immediate, action.
Get
But
it the hell
then
out of here. Yeah.
right, right. But then, I mean, I feel like if you were a kid even in the 80s, right? 90s, you had a pic you like they were sold them. I had a little thing of the Berlin Wall that like my aunt gave me that she
Yeah.
bought at the store. Who knows if it was real? I don't know. I had a certificate in it. But my
Right.
point being is like it was a piece of history, even if there was badness kind of connected to it. But there was nothing bad about this. There was nothing bad about the East Wing.
No,
There was
I'm
nothing bad
no,
about the East
no,
Room. And
no.
here's another aerial from it looks like a satellite photo almost.
Yeah.
And you can see here from left to right. In the middle is the White House executive, part of the that main building. And
Right.
to the right is the
Yeah.
garden.
Right. And then the
And
big buildings on the that are bookending it, it's the EEOB, the
Mhm,
Eisenhower Executive Office building on the left, and then the
mhm.
Treasury Department on the right. Those are the bigger structures, and then the
Yeah.
White House complex is in the middle.
Exactly. And then here is the side by side. June 24th is on the left, October 23rd, which is today, on the right. Um, again, pointing out Jackie Kennedy's garden and the East Wing, and then on the right, October 23rd, all of that gone. And here is just another, the White House as it stood. And this is just a illustration of what the visitor center, executive residence, West Wing, right? And on the right, now, the thing that really sticks out to me, this is the New York Times here, what Trump envisions the West Wing and the executive residence as we've all known it. And then this god awful ballroom on the right. Notice
90,000 square feet,
this
the
is
length
exactly right.
of 2 football fields.
Correct. This is bigger than any other part of the White House.
That's
This
a
is
monstrosity. It
it's
is an
disgusting.
obnoxious monstrosity because Donald Trump has a little dick and he wants to try to show off that he's a big man and he's going to do what he wants. So this is
Mhm,
what he does. That's why he said it's music to his ears. It's beautiful to hear
mhm.
construction and oh, that sounds like money. How the hell would he know? He's a fraud and a crook and has done
Right.
nothing but steal from everyone in his entire life. He's never earned anything in his life.
Nothing.
And now he's extending that to our democracy, to our
Mhm.
precious historic buildings. He wants to build that obnoxious arc across the river now. I hope whoever comes in after him demolishes all of it.
It
They
needs to
should
be a
demolish
campaign
all of
promise.
it.
It needs to be
It
a
needs to
campaign
be.
promise along with everything else. And
Yes.
and here is Donald Trump. Here's just a couple more clips, like because I just think that this is such a huge deal that we really have to spend some
Yes.
time on
No,
this
it's a big
because
deal.
yeah. So here is he was asked by a reporter. So there's so many clips here. Here's the one about I think this was today. Did I play the one about the $350 million yet? I don't think
Yeah,
so. Let me
not the
let me
clip, but we mentioned it, but you
yeah,
can play it.
let me
You can
play
hear it
this.
from his own words.
Yep.
Have you raised the full 300 million needed to fund your ballroom, and how much specifically are you donating to this construction
Raised,
project?
I think, $350 million. All donor money and money that we put up. We've raised. It's going to be. It's going to cost right in the neighborhood of $300 million. It's been expanded and made.
Yeah. So, and then he's asked about a report. I think this was either today or yesterday. I lose track. And he yells at someone about it. Reporter.
Just changing this topic slightly, I see you've got the
Yeah.
model of the White House and the ballroom. Many people were surprised the entire East Wing is being demolished because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well,
touch
certain
it.
areas
What
are being
happened?
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. You know, the East Wing was not much. There was not much left from the original. It was over the course of 100 years, it was changed. The columns were removed, and it was a much different building. Then a story was added on in 1948, 1949. There was a story added on, which was not particularly nice. And the building was very, very much changed from what it was originally. It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years, you have.
He goes
No.
on. I actually can't listen to it.
Like, shut up. He's such a liar. Nobody
lying.
wanted this. Yes,
Nobody.
people are like, yeah, it's when we throw state dinners, it's a little small for those things. But you know what? Nobody would dare take a hammer and a bulldozer to tear it down in order to have a more convenience for state dinners. Like, are
No.
you kidding? No, that they put up a tent. Okay, you put up the tent.
Mhm.
It's not that he's acting like it was some kind of closet. It was falling apart. No. Like, no. What is he gonna knock down the Washington Monument next and make it bigger so he can look out the back of the
Listen,
Oval Office and dream about it being his penis? I don't know, because he's just such a despicable little man that this is why we are all suffering from this.
Well, and
we all
also
have to suffer.
And the thing that really sticks out to me too, and being from New Jersey, Tara, and you know this, all of us from this tri-state area, right? We know Donald Trump. We know his history as a real estate person and as a air quote builder. How much bullshit all of this is, because if you've been inside Trump Tower, if you've been inside any of those buildings on Riverside Boulevard coming down the West Side Highway that he slapped his name on, if you've been into any of his hotels, they're crap. They are crap. They're gilded crap.
Yep.
They're shittily made. They're falling apart. There's water coming from the ceilings. They're not nice buildings.
No.
And for him to be like, and then they put a second floor on and it wasn't very nice. How the hell would you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You have no taste. You have no class. You have no culture. You are like 1 millimeter deep of a human being, and that is about it.
Yes, and his father was a slumlord. Okay, he came from Queens. No offense, but like he didn't grow up on Park Avenue. Okay,
No.
so
and it's got a chip on his shoulder about
and
it.
it's obvious because that's why he overcompensates with all the gaudy, cheap shit, and it's just so repulsive on so many levels. And on top of that, the absolute rank corruption that is going into paying for this thing. Okay, first of all, this is being subsidized by major corporations, from the crypto bros who are buying off Donald Trump, which is why the crypto situation is a wild, wild west. There's no regulation. He just pardoned some crypto
Binance
guy. Yeah.
Binance,
I actually listen to I love this podcast called Scamfluencers.
Oh yeah,
you
do like that.
I love them. It's on Wondery. These two chicks, they're the best, Sarah and Sachi. But you feel like you know them because I listen to so many of them when we travel. And so anyway, but they did a whole thing about this guy, and there was like some sex trafficking, I think, involved what this guy was doing? Like these are horrible people, and Donald Trump is acting like Vladimir Putin and establishing an oligarchy here because pretty much that's who's running it. He's made billions of dollars now with his sons running around the world, making crypto deals with the UAE and God knows who else, and the Qataris and the Saudis, and they're just literally buying the White House, Amazon, Lockheed Martin, and I mean these are major defense
Meta, Comcast. I was watching
know.
Hallie Jackson report on this today, and she was you could see the disgust kind of coming up because she doesn't really show her cards really.
Yeah.
But at the end, she said, just full disclosure, NBC and our parent company Comcast are one of the top donors for this project. And I was like, oh my God. So Comcast, we've got Meta, Amazon, Apple. Let's see, the Lutnick family, because there's a bunch of private donors as well. Here's a clip today about this ballroom going to the highest bidder.
And so now you're seeing this with Trump, where he's going to build this, $200-300 million ballroom to host these private galas with the rich and the elite and wine and dine people, all while Americans are struggling to put food on the table. And he hasn't followed through on his campaign promises to lower costs for the American people. And so it does just speak to this broader narrative of him not keeping his campaign promises and doing everything to enrich himself. This is an administration of corruption. You look at it across the board, whether it be him accepting the luxury jet from Qatar, him refusing to release the Epstein files, him enriching himself and his allies and making millions of dollars and profiting off the presidency. And now you're seeing this where the White House is literally being put up for sale and to the highest bidder, and they're basically accepting bribes. There's no way to put it.
Sarah Matthews is absolutely 100% correct on this. Before you went to I said Palantir. That's
sorry,
Peter Thiel. No, it wasn't. That wasn't your fault. It was mine. Palantir, which is this mega surveillance company that Peter Thiel is backing, that's spying on everyone.
That is
Palantir,
Stephen Miller is invested in as well.
That is correct. Coinbase, which is the crypto company. And then you've got there's a bunch, Altria, and Comcast is doing this because they don't want Trump to come for them.
Yeah, but again, we know this, Tara. It's not going to matter.
Of course,
you can give him all the money in the world. You can do all the things. You can give him all the whatevers, and it's not going to matter because he's going to see one little thing, one little speck of dust, or he's just going to be in a rotten mood, and he's going to come after you. And that's and Caroline Leavitt was asked about this again, and she said, and I'll play this, that the ballroom is the president's highest priority.
Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio.
I'm going into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Main priority.
So, were you able to upload the Feast or Famine?
Oh, yes. Give me 1 minute.
Because I think now's a good time to play that because this is in line with what's happening with the shutdown. Because, again, the media, I think they are giving attention to this, but they're also kind of tiptoeing around the juxtaposition of this happening while there is a 3-week plus shutdown happening. And the fact that Americans are suffering, our military families are suffering, our farmers are pissed. Okay. Farmers and cattle ranchers are furious because they're losing their farms and they're losing their cattle ranches. While Donald Trump is giving billions of $20 billion, possibly 40 to Argentina, wants to buy their beef to try to manipulate beef prices here in the US. And cattle ranchers are like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
They're like, wait a minute, what are you doing? This
And
isn't
being
capitalism.
told by Caroline Leavitt. No. Caroline cattle ranchers love Donald Trump, and Donald Trump loves them, and just completely gaslighting to their faces.
Yes.
While this is doing the Amazon, right?
It's 8 o'clock.
While this is still doing the little thingy here, I'm going to play this clip too of talking about this. Chris Murphy dressed all in black. Darth Murphy was on MSNBC talking about this.
Yeah. So why is he doing this? I think it's likely that a bunch of his billionaire friends, including probably somebody close to Scott Besson, are going to make a lot of money off of this bailout. So that might be the simplest explanation. Yeah. Basically, everything Trump does is for his billionaire friends. But second, I think he's sort of not satisfied with being just king of the United States. He wants to be king of the world. And so, what he's doing here is sort of dangling this money in front of Argentina and saying, you can get it, but only if you elect my friend. And if you elect anybody else, this money is not there for you. And so these exceptional king-like powers that he's using domestically, he's now sort of workshopping internationally. It's breaking precedents. It's not in American interest. And by the way, it shouldn't be lost on people that for the amount of money that we're about to send to Argentina, we could settle the shutdown, pay to make sure that the premium increases don't go up on 22 million Americans. But he's not using that money on us. Yeah. He's using that money overseas to help one of his right-wing buddies.
In a nutshell, I think
He's
that
exactly
he doesn't
right.
want to be just king of the United States. He wants to be king of the world.
He is exactly right. And he is doing the same thing with blowing these boats out of the water off the coast of Venezuela against international law and possibly illegally against military law, which is why the admiral, right, it's why the admiral who oversees that part of the world and those operations resigned recently. He was like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's why they got rid of the JAG officers and people who would say absolutely not. So I think Senator Murphy is exactly right about this. He, again, is looking at Putin and Xi Jinping, and he's like, I can do it too, and no one's going to stop me. And that is the most infuriating part of this, because there are people who could stop him. There are.
And
they
this is John
won't.
Roberts at the end of the day. This is John Roberts and his court who said and ruled that Donald Trump or any president, as long as it is an official act, can do whatever. And that a president is essentially and lawfully above the law.
Which is just, as
Crazy.
someone who was in those circles for so many years and would listen to the sanctimonious lectures about the originalist interpretations of the Constitution, of the I always say this, they would run around with their little pocket constitutions in their jackets and be like, and wave it around on the House or Senate floor and lecture Barack Obama, President Obama, and Bill Clinton or whomever about what they were doing, and called Barack Obama an imperialist president and blah blah blah. I mean, and to see them sit there in silence now, like these cowards, these no-balled bastards that are sitting there watching the literal destruction of our democracy, and they're still quiet. And to say, oh, a couple of them, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. We could use a ballroom and it'll be lovely. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me?
People just tell Donald Trump what he wants to hear. I think that people probably are saying to him, we've always wanted this, Mr. President. We've always wanted this, sir. This is wonderful. And this is a great opportunity for everyone to show how much they love you. And I have this video loaded in. I actually haven't seen this yet. So
it's a debut, everyone who's watching. You guys are getting a nice debut of our rapid response today. Our press secretary, Mallory Hagan, fresh off of giving birth, is back to work in 2 weeks.
Are you sure you want to I'm like, I feel bad bothering you. She's like, no, I'm bored. I was like, okay.
She is a warrior woman and we love her. And she's got baby in one arm and doing work in the other. And baby Parker's doing great. Mama's family's doing great. But so Mallory was like, I can do it. So I said, all right, let's put it together. And so because just the visual, and I don't understand why no one else has done this yet. I'm unaware of any other organization. I mean, if there are others out there, good for them. But the visuals of this are very important in this medium because we live in a visual era. And when you put these things side by side of what's the context of what is really happening, it is even more jarring. Like I said, we are in a shutdown. 3 weeks, the second longest shutdown in history, next to Donald Trump's first shutdown, which was 35 days the first time around. We're probably going to break that again because they're uninterested in doing anything. Okay, they hardly
Absolutely.
like, I can remember I've lived through several shutdowns. I was a staffer when we had a couple shutdowns. I was an intern in the '90s when they had a shutdown. I was
Mhm.
a Senate intern, okay? I've lived through these things, and the media used to cover them with, like, countdowns, with keeping a counter of
Yeah. I think, like,
day.
MSNBC is doing it, but, like,
Right,
from that clip,
preaching to
I
the
saw it.
choir, right? Preaching to the
Correct.
choir on
Fox
MSNBC.
doesn't have one, I
Fox
don't
doesn't
think.
have one. They sure as hell did when, it wasn't their guy.
Mhm.
Um, CNN doesn't have one that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll start a segment and say day 22, but like it used to be on the chyrons on the TV screen where you were reminded no matter what story was happening, it was
Mhm.
day XYZ of the shutdown.
Right.
We are in a shutdown. Thousands of people are losing their jobs illegally because they're really not allowed to do this. Okay. They're arguing over whether furloughed workers are going to get their money back. Like usually they get paid. You get
Yeah.
furloughed, but you'll get your back pay. They,
Mhm.
the Congress shot down a bill that would have guaranteed that furloughed workers get their back pay.
These
Nope,
people.
Republicans rejected that. Nobody knows this because no one's talking about it repeatedly over and over again, which is why it's so frustrating to me the way Democrats message. Because every single time their mugs get in front of a television camera, they need to constantly say that Republicans have kept the government shut down while
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z happens. Like, I don't care if you ask them what they ate for breakfast. You constantly
Yeah,
remind.
you just say it. I mean, they're saying it and it's a complete lie. And one thing just before I hit play on this is
Yeah.
that the United States government is spending our tax dollars, our money
Mhm.
to propagandize this
Yep.
and to lie to the entire country in airports, on government websites, everywhere that the government touches, there is a sign or a message saying that this is the Democrats' fault in this thing. And like it's unethical, it's
Mhm.
terrible, I think it's probably illegal,
Yeah, it's
but
against the Hatch Act.
yeah, it's like, but they're not gonna stop doing it because
No.
again, like why even have these laws? Because no one follows
Nobody
them.
enforces them because the
No one
people who are tasked with enforcing them are too busy on their knees for Donald Trump. So, I mean, God bless some of the
Did you
airports who
see
have.
Gavin Newsom was selling the knee pads?
I did not, but I shout
They're
out
s
to his
they're
comms
sold
team.
out. They're sold out.
Well,
Um
and God bless some of the airports who have decided not to show that
Yep.
Kristi Noem video. For people who don't know, there is a video. Like, when
Mhm.
you stand on the TSA line and sometimes they
Mhm.
show like PSAs like, oh, if you want to get global entry, you can go here.
Mhm. Go to
Or
blah-blah-blah.gov
right,
or
right.
whatever,
Go to
yeah.
such and such.gov and make sure your real ID is updated. They have
Mhm.
changed that message, that PSA,
Mhm.
into a political message blaming Democrats for the shutdown and a blatantly partisan message.
Mhm.
And a couple of airports have said, we're not showing this. This is like we're not going to violate the Hatch Act and violate federal law for this bullshit. So no.
Mm,
And
mm-mm.
thank God for them, but still, it's the fact that
I
they
know.
think that they can do this. So we put together this quick video, just a rapid response to kind of tie it all together to show what is actually happening and force the American people to look at it in its entirety, in the
Mhm.
whole context of what's going on. It's
Here it
called
is.
Feast or Famine.
The Trump Republican shutdown. Republicans have shown zero interest in reopening the government.
You are looking at the East Wing of the White House, or what's left of it.
I think there'll be nothing like it.
It's going to be a couple of $100 million at least. It's about $300 million.
See, everyone's happy, honey.
That's awesome.
You've done a good job.
And our service members and their families are starting to feel the effects. Today, Guam Food Bank held an outreach event for area military families.
Military members and their families in line because of this government shutdown.
A Navy wife and a veteran herself, Haley is standing in line at a food bank for military families.
A pop-up food bank to feed West Point families.
He's always wanted this grand ballroom, something that you would see in England or something. He had this huge frustration with the fact that he couldn't do massive state dinners that you'd see in other countries.
President Trump will be back in Palm Beach this weekend. He's hosting a fundraiser at his estate.
Trump is hosting a $1 million per person fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago. $1 million per person.
workers are waiting to get paid. We're following reports that President Trump could be asking for a payment of as much as $230 million from the U.S. government.
Tomorrow, we don't know what is our business, how we're able to survive, really.
You're cheating the veterans out of everything.
Why does our country do such a horrible job not serving those who serve us?
Bottom line, right? You have military families standing on food bank lines, which is despicable in and of itself, inexcusable, should never happen in America, ever. And this guy now is building a ballroom. And don't tell me that the taxpayer money isn't coming out of this. Of course it is. Okay. Of course it is. And he also is demanding a $230 million legal fee repayment because of claiming he was unfairly prosecuted by the federal government, that he wants $230 million.
Very close
Right?
number to what the ballroom costs. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Exactly. Just a coincidence that he's talking about, oh, well, and the only people that have the authority to say yes or no is Todd Blanche, who was his defense attorney and is now the deputy assistant attorney general. Like, why isn't anybody putting these through lines together?
Well, first of all, the media is complicit and has enabled all of this since day one. And, the last thing I'll say about this East Room thing, and as it relates to this, and we can talk more about the shutdown and how it's affecting federal workers and regular Americans. I just wanted to throw a couple of these photos up here of like the memories, like anybody who has been to the White House, whether it just be on a tour or if you're there for an official event, like it's a very special place. You can feel the history in the walls. If the walls could talk, they would tell the stories. You know what I mean? And
I just want to explain. Okay, this is me in 2005, 20 awful years ago, where I was in the East Room of the White House for an event President George W. Bush was putting on. I think it was in June. I don't remember, but it was definitely 2005, and it was when Barack Obama was a freshman senator, and no one really knew who he was. He'd come fresh off winning the Senate seat, and he was kind of an up-and-comer, and he was one of a few Black senators that had ever been senators. And so there I am with Barack Obama in the East Wing of the White House. There I am in 2011 in the Rose Garden at the annual congressional picnic. That was 2011. And that was 2008. I took that photograph of George W. Bush at the annual African-American music celebration that they do in June, because it's Black Music Month in June. And that was George W. Bush honoring that with a nice little lovely choir in the back, gospel choir in the back. And there you are.
And that's me, and that's my husband, Joe. We were there in September of 2016, and I remember feeling so excited, thinking that a woman was about to become president, and like this was the end of the Obama administration, just feeling like the whole world was ahead of us and all the possibilities, and boy was I wrong. But I wanted to show these just to personalize it as well.
Yes.
You guys all know us at this point, and we have memories here, even though I've been one time, but I will never forget that day for as long as I live. I have pictures from that day hanging in my home because it was such a special occasion. And the thing, obviously, other than just the demolition of it itself, is that we never got to say goodbye.
I know.
And that's the thing that really, there was no come see it before it's gone. There was no, and because I think they knew if they'd given that opportunity that somebody would have stopped this.
Of course.
And so we never got to say goodbye
to
this place that has been such a huge part of American history. And where so many things, to your point, have happened there. And so while he's doing this, while he's spending $350 million plus, because that number is going up, to make this gilded, gaudy dollar store ballroom, the American people are suffering through this shutdown, through the tariffs, through the health insurance premiums are skyrocketing. And here's Congresswoman Clark was asked about this, and she was just like, the contrast here, the let them eat cake of it all is astounding. I'm just gonna play this clip.
It is so shameless. It's really hard to take in. I mean, first we have the American people who are not doing well in this economy, and they're telling us that every single day. It's the cost of housing, it's the cost of groceries, utility bills, and then you add on a wild cuts that the Republicans voted for and enacted into law to health care, and watching the premiums soar. And then we turn around and the President of the United States ask his own former lawyers who are now in positions at Department of Justice that he should be paid hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, the arrogance, the, let them eat cake attitude of the American people. It is breathtaking.
She's right. Unfortunately, she made a really, really, really bad mistake this week as well in an interview where she said, yes, which if I'm a Republican, I would cut the clip and run it over and over again about we are aware that families will suffer, but it's the only leverage we have. Now there's more to that where they cut it off, but it doesn't matter. She said it in a way that they can cut that clip and use it, and it's already starting. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You can't say that. You can't make those kinds of mistakes because usually she's pretty good. She's pretty good. She's a message, but
messenger.
All it takes is one mess up like that, and it can haunt you. So I was like, no.
Well, and this is just a 9-second clip here. This is Mike Johnson being asked about like what he can do here, and it's just wild.
Well, here's the thing. The mainstream media has asked me in all these interviews, why aren't you negotiating? Cheryl, I literally don't have anything to negotiate. And
I don't have anything to negotiate.
So again, if I am the messaging arm of the DNC, you take Mr. Keebler elf in his own words, and you say, I have nothing to negotiate. And then you follow that by Marjorie Taylor Greene blaming the Republican leadership for the shutdown and for healthcare prices skyrocketing and for, just name it, military families not getting paid, food banks, like all of that. And then you go back to him making another comment where he says something stupid about, oh, well, it's Chuck Schumer's fault. And it's like, you remind them, you guys control the government.
Yeah,
You're in charge.
literally every branch.
Every branch. Okay. From the White House to the courthouse to the House floor. You guys are in charge. So like it's right there. It's right there.
It's right there. And I just want to play just a few seconds of this. There's a federal worker who was testifying about this, who talks about where he's from and how they all voted for Trump and how they're feeling very regretful about this.
My district went for Trump both in 2016 and 2024, and a lot of my friends supported him. But lately they're saying, I didn't vote for this. They didn't vote for the parks to close or to be short-staffed, health care costs to skyrocket, and veterans to lose care or have delayed care, and for tens of thousands of federal employees to be at risk of losing their jobs. Another thing I want to address is the unconstitutional executive overreach of this administration. I asked the Democratic Party to defend and support public services through adequate funding established by Congress and ensure those funds are spent efficiently and wisely and protect the power of the purse.
I mean, one of many. And in addition to that, I mean, federal workers, like we saw in the video that Mallory made about federal workers, members of the military having to stand in bread lines, essentially.
Yes.
At food banks.
Yes.
We have people suffering, cannot afford their health care premiums, which are sometimes double, tripling.
Yes.
People cannot afford this. Halloween is next week. There was a whole segment, I think, on CNN or something about how expensive Halloween is this year for like the costumes and things like that, right? But also just the candy that you're picking up for the trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Like all of these things add up for average Americans, and people cannot afford it. And I want to, sorry, go ahead.
Democrats aren't reminding people enough of who to
This is the
blame.
thing I don't
I
get.
don't get this.
It's an
Every
easy story
single
to tell.
time you blame the Republicans. You say exactly what you just said, Michelle. You
Mhm.
know, Halloween is next week. So when you go to buy your kid the costume for their Halloween party, if you can afford it,
Mhm.
be reminded that that Halloween costume costs twice as much as it used to because of Donald Trump's tariffs, which are a
Mhm.
tax on everyday Americans.
Yeah.
When you go to the store to buy those party favors and the candy for your kid's Halloween party next week, and the
Mhm.
prices are 30% higher, you can
Mhm.
thank Donald Trump and Republicans for allowing tariffs and whatever, inflation and whatever,
Mhm.
which is a tax on the American people. The Democratic Party, and wait until open enrollment happens this year for
Oh my
your health
God.
care. If you think that you're going to have sticker shock when it comes to your kid's Halloween costume or your ornaments for your Christmas tree, if you can afford one this year, wait till your healthcare premiums triple. Thanks to Republicans refusing to open the government because they won't negotiate with us about
No.
ensuring that healthcare subsidies stay
It's
affordable.
gonna be
I
like
mean,
it's gonna be a Bob Cratchit Christmas. Let me just tell you, it's gonna be Tiny Tim, not without a seat at the table. I'm
I
serious.
know. No, I
And
know.
listen, this is probably a good piece of content, to be honest. Like, because he is Scrooge, except he isn't visited by, or if he is visited by the ghost of Christmas yet to come, he learns absolutely nothing, shoves the ghost of Christmas yet to come off a bridge, and goes back to being exactly the horrible human that he was. And the
Absolutely.
American people are not stupid. I just want to play a few seconds of this is CNN. This is just the polls. He is as unpopular as you can possibly imagine.
What's he doing? Yeah, my mama was a doctor, and I think she'd look at these numbers and say that Donald Trump's doing absolutely awful in the minds of the American people. What are we talking about? We're talking about new lows for Donald Trump. He's hit new lows for himself. Trump's economic net approval rating hits lows with these pollsters. CNBC, look at this. Down now, minus 13 points on the net approval rating on the economy. You come to this side of the screen, it's minus 19 points among Quinnipiac. And keep in mind, we're talking about hitting record lows for Donald Trump in either his first term, which of course ended back in 2021, or his second term, which is ongoing right now. The bottom line is Donald Trump is at the lowest point ever in either of his terms.
But compare it to presidents historically.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Donald Trump is beating himself in the way you don't want to beat yourself, record lows, but let's compare it to other presidents. Well, let's take a look here. Okay, worst economic net approval ratings at this point among presidents since 1977. In the presidency, right, this is a new Donald Trump presidency. Look at this. He's the worst for any presidency at this point. How about the second term? Come to this side of the screen. Of course, Trump's in his second term. He's the worst for any president at their second term at this point. So Donald Trump isn't just beating himself with record lows. This is the lowest for any president ever at this point in either a
And that is why they're doing what they're doing with our elections.
Yes, which leads us to this New York Times story, which is getting not as much attention as it should because we're all reeling about the White House, as we should be. But front page of the New York Times today, Trump empowers election deniers still fixated on 2020 grievances. Now, he has placed a bunch of election deniers, like the wacko election denier types, into key positions in the Department of Homeland Security, including CISA, which is the cybersecurity agency that has been gutted by Donald Trump, that Chris Krebs actually ran and was fired for saying that our election in 2020 was the most secure in history, which it was. And Chris Krebs and Miles Taylor have been targeted by the president by name because they've been honest about what he has done, and he doesn't like them because they've told the truth.
Right.
This woman right here, okay, her last name is Honey, right? You can't even make this up. These people have like weird
Heather
names.
Honey.
Heather Honey. She is like a wacko election denier.
Yeah, like
And
release
she-
the Kraken kind of crazy. Like
Yes, like Mike Lindell pillow guy crazy, which there is a Mike Lindell pillow guy involved in this that is now in a position of power inside the Department of Homeland Security that is overseeing election integrity stuff. Okay? The pillow guy, the crackhead pillow guy that is getting sued for billions of dollars because he was making up stuff. Him and Sidney Powell were the ones that were in the Oval Office talking about
Release the
Italian
Kraken.
satellites
Right.
and Venezuela and Hugo Chavez and whatever other wacky fucking shit. Yeah, these people are now in positions inside our federal government being paid with taxpayer dollars, and they are going to try to fuck with our elections.
Oh,
next time.
1,000%. And listen, and that's another reason. Like, there's a lot of reasons, like the National Guard, ICE, all this stuff's happening too, which we'll talk about briefly here in a moment. But this is also about normalizing military on our streets, so that when the midterm elections come up next year, we have military armed officials at our polling places, and they want us to be so used to it at this point. And again, to your point that you just said a few minutes ago, we're only 9 months into this.
Yes.
And like the chaos has almost become just part of
normal.
Waking up in the morning.
Another day that ends in Y.
Right. And in addition to that article, in the New York Times, there's a story, Axios. This is October 9th, a couple weeks ago. Scoop: Dominion Voting sold to company run by ex-GOP election official. Dominion Voting Systems, the voting machine behemoth that Donald Trump and his allies baselessly attacked after the 2020 election, has been sold to a Missouri-based company run by a former Republican election official. Why it matters: Dominion is one of the biggest election equipment providers and was used in 27 states during the election last year. Liberty was the company. It was a Liberty Vote purchased Canada-based Dominion for an undisclosed sum. And Liberty is a new company owned by Scott Leidendecker, who in 2011 created a software program focused on enabling election workers to verify voters. Anyways, this guy, the people who own this now are the election deniers,
Right.
who own Dominion Voting Systems, who...
I can't believe they sold it. I mean, they got $787 million
like,
from Fox News. This was the company that sued Fox News for defamation and won. So really, you needed to sell the company to this guy? I mean, I just, what are we doing here? So this is another one of those things that is flying under the radar because there's so much other shit happening. I mean, it hasn't even been a week since No Kings, which everybody was like feeling great about.
Right.
And then by Monday, that's why he did it. That's exactly why he chose to do this now. I'm sure in the lead up, they saw that this was going to be a historic day, which it was. And shout out to everyone who was at a No Kings rally. And they probably had the bulldozers on standby.
Oh yeah, big time.
To be like, you know what? We'll show them. I mean, the fact that they started posting memes of him being a king and JD Vance posting memes of them being king and princes or whatever, and then
a fighter jet flying over Times Square, which by the way is where I was standing. I'm in that crowd somewhere, like dropping human shit all over everybody.
Yes.
And then the guy who's actually in the front of that video is like a young Democratic activist, Harry Sisson, right? He tweeted, he was like, "Can somebody ask the president why he did that to me?" And JD Vance like quote tweeted it and was like, "I'll ask him."
I mean,
the whole thing is just so
I
refuse to even like. I'm like, it's so dumb, it's so awful. I don't even want to talk about it, but it does matter. But at the same time that we're talking about this stuff with the election integrity, because this is really scary shit.
Yeah.
They are once again always telling on themselves, always projecting. This is some Trump guy on right wing. I can't see it because of my eyeballs. I can't see what
I have my glasses. Can you put it up? Let me see.
I'm gonna put it up and we're gonna watch this together because this is some crazy shit.
Every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office.
there's
They
a meeting.
briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, he's
This was just the other day, by the way.
He
This was just the other
literally
day.
described
I know. It's
himself
crazy.
and Trump. The fact that they constantly do this is it's like the blatant propaganda gaslighting. It's so Orwellian. You couldn't script this.
No.
Like he literally described everything that Donald Trump and MAGA has done since 2016 up until now. Literally all of it. The seditious conspiracy, crimes being committed, the worst crimes against the presidency in the country in
Subverting
history,
an election, right.
subverting an election. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm trying to find out who this guy is. He is an advisory board member of Donald J. Trump for president. So let's see.
Like, I'm looking at you. You look like a normal person.
Right.
You sound like a normal person until I start realizing what the words are that you're saying. These people. I'm like, I just.
Political strategist. Where did you come from? That's the title that a lot of people take when they don't have real jobs.
Yeah, my cat's a strategist. Like, get out of here.
So he said, right. Rafi and Tiki from the grave is
right.
Oliver's
a strategist to get his food earlier than normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's not a strategist.
So this guy also said that Jack Smith should be sanctioned, disbarred, indicted, and convicted. So speaking of that, breaking news today, which is what I talked about on MSNBC earlier, is that Jack Smith is saying, I'd like to testify in open session. I'm happy to do it. But I want some assurances that I'm not going to be retaliated against. And so, because they want to drag him, and he's like, I'm sure, I'm happy to talk. But I also need permission about what can I talk about? There's sealed grand jury stuff. There's certain evidence. Like, I just want to be clear about this. So I'll be very curious to see, because they don't want Jack Smith to testify in an open committee hearing, because he will tell the truth. And like I said on MSNBC, truth is sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. And we haven't heard more than about 15 sentences from Jack Smith, especially during the investigation, because he's a consummate professional and did not want to undermine the integrity of the investigation, which is the right thing to do.
The guy who helps try criminals in The Hague.
In The Hague, okay? He's dedicated his entire life to upholding the law. And now he's like, okay, now I'll tell you. Because remember, he was knee deep in all of the evidence that was amassed against Donald Trump, and not one but two indictments. He knows all of it. All of it. And only because of Merrick Garland being such an impotent attorney general, we did not have the opportunity. The American people did not get the opportunity to hear that case properly prosecuted in front of the American people before the damn election. And I will never forgive Merrick Garland for that shit, because that's why we're here now. I think if the American people fully knew the extent of Donald Trump's illegalities and what they did, we wouldn't be here now. And so I hope Jack Smith said, listen, what else does he have to lose at this point? He's like, fuck it. All right, put me up there. That is appointment television if that happens.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, popcorn, the works. The works.
Yeah.
The works.
Absolutely. And so, that happened today. We also have ICE now being unleashed in New York City. I can't believe it. And San Francisco is next on the list. You've got Nancy Pelosi, because she's a badass. She's like, yeah, all right, let them come over here and we'll prosecute them, and then we'll arrest them if they violate state law.
Good.
So
good. I'm glad somebody is.
Nancy Pelosi and the DA for San Francisco said, if they pull that shit here in the streets, we will arrest them under state law and and prosecute them. And Trump can't pardon them because it's state law. Now, if this happens, it's kind of like the showdown I want to see, but I also don't, because I'm concerned about what happens here. You're going to have state or local PD drawing guns on ICE. And it's like the movie Civil War.
This is exactly what I was about to say.
Civil War.
It is.
And then they're going to argue over supremacy clause. So like who actually has jurisdiction here? What do you do? What do you do? And what happens in the meantime? Like that's the constitutional crisis situation right there. I mean, a part of me, I want to see it happen, but at the same time, I also am concerned about what the fallout would be if that actually ever does come to
here's
that.
the thing is it's inevitable. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is inevitable. I had drinks with my friend Matt last night, our friend who works over at the Daily Show, and we were talking about this, and he's like, Michelle, at what point? He's like, I hate to say it. He's like, but like we keep talking about like institutions and things like that. He's like, but that's what's not. He's like, and I'm not saying that I want that to happen. He's like, but there is going to come a point at which the guns are going to be drawn, and it's going to be local, or municipalities or something against federal people. And in New York City, where I live, it's only. I mean, listen, I've been hearing about ICE stuff since the beginning of his term, right? Since January. Apartment buildings being raided in Hell's Kitchen and things like this downtown. But this is different. This is like they're coming in, and this is a whole nother situation. Now I'm on a text thread, an SOS text thread for when these things happen. All the Dems creator people that you follow are all on this. And so we're all talking in like rapid response. How can we get the message out? Now, Eliza Orlins, who is a career prosecutor in Manhattan, she also, funny enough, went to school with her, didn't know until recently that we were at SU at the same time. She posted this. Please go follow her. She's fantastic.
She's really
Eliza
good.
Orlins at @eOrlins. I'm just going to play a little bit of this video that she posted because she ran out. She went downtown, got in a cab, went downtown in the streets, came home and made this video.
I can't believe this shit is happening in my city. I cannot believe it. I just got home after protesting in the streets because ICE decided to raid New York City today. I'm Eliza Orlins, career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and we have to talk about what's happening. So today, in Manhattan, in broad daylight at 5:30 p.m., these HSI tanks showed up on the streets of New York City. That's Homeland Security investigation tanks, people fully masked in full military gear, and started snatching up New Yorkers off the street in broad daylight. New Yorkers, of course, were outraged, started screaming, shame, shame, shame. The crowd stood in the way of the tanks and then followed the ICE agents to Federal Plaza, where immigrant detention is happening. But look at these guys. This is on the streets of Manhattan with these massive guns. It's absolutely insane. Just tackling people to the ground, detaining people and carting them off, snatching them off our streets. Check this out.
What the fuck?
I know. That's like, I have jury duty there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't even believe this is happening in Manhattan. I genuinely can't believe this. And New Yorkers are so absolutely beside ourselves. And that's why immediately everyone jumped into action, had a big protest. I was down there for a couple
Where's
hours.
the NYPD?
And there are two like, particularly notable things about what transpired.
He does a really good job of
Number
breaking
one,
this down.
This huge right-winger, this Nick Shirley guy, posted a video on Canal Street. I confronted dangerous migrant scammers in New York City. Also, Savannah Hernandez, a right-wing content creator, posted a video from Canal Street on X. And she said there's a huge group of African illegal immigrants operating a black market on the corner of Broadway and Canal Street. And then that's what got raided today. So I'm extremely concerned that Trump is taking cues from right-wing influencers as to where to send ICE. It is terrifying. The other particularly disturbing and notable thing about this is, and I've heard this from multiple people, including a citywide elected official and the CEO of New York City Immigration Coalition, and that is that certain reporters, certain right-wing news outlets, including Fox News, was tipped off that this was happening in advance.
Of course.
So they were there capturing videos. They had apparently News Nation had an exclusive.
News Nation.
Very disturbing to me. Are journalists complicit? They're not tipping anyone off. So then like, what the fuck is going on here? This is happening in Manhattan. Keep speaking out, keep sharing, and please make sure you're following me for more because I will keep you all updated. Thank you.
Please go
So
follow her. She does an incredible job breaking this stuff down. The one
yes.
thing, and she said, you know, the now I could be wrong, the right-wing influencers and that they tipping them off. I think it's the other way around. I
Yeah, I
think
do
it's
too.
ICE
I do
telling
too.
them
Yeah.
and then they post it
That
because
is
I mean,
correct.
you can't, there's no mobilization like that happens in
No.
an hour.
No.
I
No,
think
no,
it's
no.
the other way around.
You're absolutely right about that, and I can tell you how I know, because I just did an interview for Vanity Fair. They're doing a
Mhm.
story about out these 20-somethings that are in the communication shops across
Right.
the government, and these 20-something know-nothings that have virtually no experience other than working for MAGA or Donald Trump's campaign are now in these really important comms public information officer positions in
God help us.
cabinet agencies, and they're just there, not by merit. I mean, there are some extraordinary 20-somethings that could get, Schedule C political appointments.
Sure.
There are. These ain't them, okay?
Mhm.
These
No.
aren't those people. They're there because they are part of the Praetorian Guard that's just gonna, do whatever they're told, and they are telling their influencer friends, because a lot of them came from that world, they're
Mhm.
tipping them off about what's going on. And
Mhm.
Kristi Noem, as we all know, is cosplaying around as a border Barbie bitch and getting $170 plane for her to fly around so they can have a
2.
full, that's right, 2 of them,
2
so they can have a film crew and use our taxpayer dollars to
in
film
her little
propaganda
costumes.
videos. Right. That's
I'm
right.
like, why? Here's the thing, and I see people like Chrissy Noem and all these like little ICE officers like playing GI Joe and whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
why? Just go do community theater, like go do Guys and Dolls.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And get it out of your system and leave the rest of us alone.
I'm just saying,
I'm
if
serious.
only, if only. I mean, this week, The Atlantic did a story about how 30% of these new ICE recruits are failing in their
Oh, right,
training
right.
because they can't pass. I still talked about this on Wednesday because they can't pass the basic physical fitness exam. Now, my husband, who is 50 years old, showed me the current physical fitness standards for a 50-year-old officer in his agency, and it's harder than what these guys are failing
Yeah.
right now, okay? And the fact that so for those who don't know, it is 15 push-ups,
Mhm.
32 sit-ups,
Mhm.
and a mile and a half run in 14 minutes.
Which is
Which
not
is,
hard.
I mean, if you are in relatively good shape, that should not be a problem.
Yeah.
And the run part, the mile and a half run is really important to ICE officers because these motherfuckers are chasing people, and they said it. It's quoted, like officials in the ICE training facility are like, we can't just kind of skirt around this because a lot of their apprehension and deportation officer duties require chasing people. So what are they doing? How are they getting around this? They have a 10,000 person quota that they're saying they're going to hire 10,000 deportation officers by January. They're like, we're on track to hire them. Yeah, because what's happening is they're getting every Barney Fife podunk racist from some local police department,
The
okay,
thing is
on
Barney
Mayberry.
Fife would never, you know what I mean?
I know. Sorry, Barney
What an
Fife, but
angel.
yes. But they're getting these
Citizens
podunk police,
relent.
these
Sorry.
podunk police officers coming from their local towns and going to ICE,
Right.
and they can bypass the physical fitness test.
And the
So
psych tests and everything
all
else.
of it, they're bypassing it because they're
Right.
saying they can self-certify. So that's how they're getting around these standards. And it's
Yeah.
hard for these local police departments to compete because they're offering $50,000 signing bonuses,
Right.
which is often more than a year's salary in these smaller police departments.
Right.
So this is a disaster. So you're getting a bunch of these people. HSI was already the black sheep of the federal law enforcement agencies because they were like the ones that couldn't hack it at other agencies, and now they've been unleashed with these with more money, more weaponry, and this and masked authority than any other agency in the federal government. They actually have a budget larger than the Marines.
Yes, and like I
There's
think
something wrong
over
with that.
however many years, it's almost $1 trillion. And
Yeah, what do you think they're going to
and
do with that?
right. And I'm like, listen, you can come after me and say whatever it is, don't call us Nazis, don't call us. You're acting just like them.
Right.
You are building a Nazi Gestapo, Hitler's youth army. Like,
Yep.
let's go down the list, shall we?
I
Because
know.
there's also an American expat, by the way. She works in finance in Frankfurt, and I have to find it. I'll share it somewhere. She does these like breakdowns of like German history and like comparisons to America. And she talks about that there was in 1936, they built a ballroom for Adolf Hitler that had a bunker underneath.
Of course. Of course they did.
I'm like, stop telling me that we're not seeing what we're seeing. We're watching a replay of 1930s, 40s German history play out in the United States of America. He used to have Mein Kampf in his house and he would read it. I mean, assuming that he reads,
right?
I think he probably just looked at it and had someone read it to him.
That's
but
what
like
Ivana said that in the divorce, that it was his favorite book and it was on the nightstand.
Right. I'm like, don't tell me that we're not seeing what we're seeing. It's like you're doing it about everything. The ranchers love us and we love the ranchers. No. Everybody wanted a ballroom. No. The list goes on and we're tired of it. Stop telling us that we're not seeing what we're seeing because it's happening. It's happening in real time.
It is. And that's why it's so important that we continue to do the work that we do to make sure that the American people stay informed and the truth is told. That is why we do this. That's why the support for folks that do this and independent media and all of that, as long as we still have these options available to us, and God knows where we'll be in a year or two from now, but as long as we still have this opportunity, we're going to take it.
Use it or lose it, folks.
That's right. That's right. Well, since you brought up Guys and Dolls, I think it's a good time to do our bright spot tonight to close out the show, because we have 2 bright spots. And actually, before we get that, I see in our comments, one of our followers here, one of our supporters, I am wearing a necklace that he sent. I actually have 2.
Oh, that's nice.
Michelle, you should check your emails because he'd like to send you one too.
Okay.
Yes. And actually, I think I have, because I want folks to go to his Etsy page. He's beautiful. It's so well made. It's really, really beautiful. And wait, I gotta put my glasses on. Hold on, I have it here. It's Wondrous Objects Inc. on Etsy. So Wondrous Objects Inc. And Adam, thank you very much for the lovely gift, and it's beautiful. And
it's very you also. It's like
a
hair necklace.
I know.
I couldn't wear that. Like you know what I mean? It looks fabulous on you. It would,
you could totally wear it, but
maybe with the right shirt.
yes. So, but anyway, I noticed that in the comments and wanted to acknowledge. So thank you very much. That was very kind of you to send.
Beautiful, very thoughtful too.
Yes. Well done. Beautiful.
So we have 2 bright spots this week. I will start with the wonderful, beautiful, amazing Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland was the first African-American principal dancer to ever grace the stages at American Ballet Theater. She took her final bow last night at the age of 43. It's crazy. I'm like, she and I are the same age. And I look at her and I'm like, but you're timeless. Like, how is that even possible? I have a couple of clips here that I want to play just because I think the context here, if you don't know who Misty Copeland is, if you don't know ballet or you don't follow, like, ballet for decades in the United States and Russia, other places, like, ballerinas, ballet dancers, women specifically, very strong, very, very strong, but kind of wafy and white. And I remember somebody bought me a book. I remember in college because I danced most of my life. I was never anywhere near this, just to be clear. And it was called like Diet for Dancers. And it was like basically like apples and like have a cube of cheese. And it was like very, right. Then Misty Copeland came along. She didn't start dancing until she was 13 years old. And when I tell you, this woman changed not just the art form, but everything about it, what it meant for women to dance at all.
Yep.
And her body type, she's an athlete. She's an athlete and an artist, and completely changed what the acceptable body type and health and strength of a dancer. And I think in years to come, we'll look back and thank her for elongating the careers of dancers as well, because of how well she, takes care of herself and advocates for that.
Yes. And it was not easy for her. You have to understand. Okay.
No.
There is still a certain amount of bias in the arts and in ballet in particular. Right. And so she really was a trailblazer. She really broke barriers. It was a huge deal for her to become a principal ballerina for the ABT and what that represents. And what she's doing now, she's wrote a children's book. She's doing like classes for people that like 50 and
Look at those
over if you
calves.
want. I know.
Look
It's just
at her calves. I mean,
I
it is
have you ever
just
seen her live? Have
one
you seen her
time.
perform?
One time
Yeah.
years ago.
I've seen her perform twice and including at Wolf Trap. So I had a
Mm.
really up close, unbelievable view, and she's just extraordinary.
Yeah.
And my mom, my mom was a dancer and she was on Broadway. She was not a ballet dancer. She was her strong point was tap and modern jazz. But I mean, there's a reason why football players take ballet
Mhm.
for balance and strength. Like
Mhm.
it's just an incredible, beautiful art. And she
Yep.
was one of the best, just amazing. So
And
good for her.
we'll always be. And I just want to play this. This is from 60 Minutes when she was named the first Black principal dancer at ABT. This is 10 years ago, 2015.
Finally tonight, in her memoir, Misty Copeland calls herself an unlikely ballerina. As we told you, she was named today the American Ballet Theater's first African-American principal ballerina. Bill Whitaker looked at her leap to stardom for 60 Minutes.
Misty Copeland will tell you she's never more alive than when she's on stage, on her toes, her athleticism and grace on full display. She can leap through the air. She can spin on a dime. She can make you believe she's a swan by a lake. You feel comfortable up there.
Yes. Something happens when you feel that energy and excitement from the audience and you do, 4 pirouettes, you jump higher than you ever have. And it's just this really magical thing that happens in those moments.
She performs to sell out crowds on grand stages across the country. But it was this commercial for the sportswear company Under Armour that introduced her to a new audience. About 6.5 million people see live ballet every year. Almost 8 million viewed this commercial online. A different audience found her when she danced with pop star Prince. And there she was on the cover of Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential people.
Hi, Misty.
We were at the stage door after a performance in Orange County, California. She was mobbed like a rock star. Misty Copeland lives in New York City. She feels most at home on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera House, where American Ballet Theater performs.
60 Minutes, Bill Whitaker with Misty Copeland. She said today that the best advice she ever received was be you, because you can't be anyone else.
Amazing.
Amazing. And to watch her body and just also, she's 5'2". She's teeny weeny. A lot of ballerinas too are taller, 5'5", 5'6", because of just,
the lines
and like short
what they
people,
want.
it's great.
Yeah.
Nobody, but to be able to create those lines on stage from 1,000 feet back and to be able to, it's amazing. And so last night she took her last bow at Lincoln Center. It was a star-studded event. Everyone from Debbie Allen and to Oprah, everybody that you can possibly think of was there. And Oprah had this to say.
Someone comes along who just doesn't master their craft. They shift the very atmosphere around it. She redefined who belongs, who gets to be seen, and who gets to lead. When Misty became the first Black female principal dancer in American Ballet Theater's 75-year history, it wasn't just a milestone, it was a mirror held up to generations who had never seen themselves reflected in the center of the frame. She redefined an image that had gone unchanged for too long. She made space and showed others how to claim that space. Tonight, it's an not just a farewell, it's a continuum. Because when you stepped on that stage years ago, you didn't just dance, you gave permission. You gave hope, you gave vision. And to every child watching, to every young person who thought, maybe not me, you showed them with every movement that yes, you too belong.
Beautiful.
Yes, even though we're all very upset with Oprah for going to the Bezos wedding,
Well, yeah.
I'm a little annoyed with her on that, but a beautiful tribute to
Yeah.
the one and only Misty Copeland, and
Mhm.
like Simone Biles and other amazing Black women who have just set the bar so high and really embody Black excellence.
Mhm.
She's just amazing. So,
Amazing.
but there's a theme here because the second bright spot, because
Yes.
we love musical theater here. It's something that bonded Michelle and I. Like I said, my mom was on Broadway. I grew up in the theater. Michelle is an artist, went to theater school, has a BA in that, can sing, is very
BFA,
talented.
yeah.
That's right. And so, like, we have another one, part 2.
Yeah.
And I was so
So
glad you sent this.
yes. So it's funny because a friend of mine is a consultant for the Musicians Union, works with them, and actually texted me at like 7 o'clock this morning. And he was like, we took him to the cleaners. And I was like, what? And he sends me this article. And there were 2 unions that were about to strike against the Broadway League. One being the musicians, the second being the actors. So, New York Times reports Broadway averts strike as musicians reach deal with producers. The tentative agreement, which still requires ratification by union members, it will pass, comes 5 days after a similar agreement with actors and stage managers. This is such a huge deal.
Right. 'Cause
Early
they hadn't had a strike like this in a long time.
Yeah, it's American Federation of Musicians Local 802. Early Thursday today, after an 18-hour bargaining session aided by a mediator, the labor union representing musicians reached a tentative deal with the Broadway League, a trade association for producers and theater owners. They said, quote, united in solidarity, Local 802 Broadway musicians are thrilled to announce that we reached a tentative agreement 4:30 a.m. with Broadway League that will avert a strike scheduled to begin later today. This 3-year agreement provides meaningful wage and health benefit increases that will preserve crucial access to healthcare for our musicians while maintaining the strong contract protections that empower musicians to build a steady career on Broadway. And then I bring you to this article from the 18th. This is the union that I belong to. This is the Actors Equity Association, which is the actors that you see on stage, as well as the stage managers backstage, belong to the same union. Broadway actors reach deal, but musicians still threaten to strike. Obviously, that news was updated today.
It's like SAG-AFTRA for Broadway.
Yep. Union representing Broadway's actors and stage managers reached a tentative agreement with the industry's commercial producers. This is the Broadway League again. They're kind of assholes. I don't really like them. They all live in mansions and pay us, pay actors like, peanuts.
A pittance.
Yeah. But this is such a huge deal because there's meaningful change and updates to not just wages, but healthcare as well. So in Actors Equity, you used to be able to just be a member of the union and access some form of healthcare. They got rid of that several years back, saying that you have to work 20 weeks. So you would have to get the 20 weeks in order to get any health coverage whatsoever. And, if you were injured during a show and then you leave the show, like, you're screwed. You're just screwed.
Right.
And that's on top of the fact that Broadway minimum, I think Broadway minimum right now for an ensemble member, I think is about like, I think it's like $2,500 or something like that. It used to be $1,800. I know it's more than that now, but like, that's before taxes.
Is that a week or a month?
A week. But that's before taxes.
Before taxes in New York City.
In New York City, where we have a 9% income tax just for the city. That's in addition to New York state and federal taxes. Cost of living, the average rate in New York, or average rent in New York City is $5,000 a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're talking about healthcare costs on top of that, working union dues, because there's union dues, and then if you're working, you have to pay more. If you have an agent, that's 10%. If you have a manager, that's another 10 or 15%.
Yep.
And then you're left with scraps, nothing to live on.
No, I mean, and that's why when you
This
go
is
to
such a
Broadway
huge
yeah, it's a
deal.
huge deal, and when you go to Broadway shows, it's important to understand that a lot of these people are not getting rich. They're doing it for the
No.
love of the art and being on stage,
Mhm.
and the least we can do is make sure they have
Mhm.
a living wage, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do you have the ragtime?
Sure do.
Yes. Okay, I'm excited about this because first of all, this show is an amazing show. I really hope you're going this weekend. If I
Oh,
was up
yeah,
there, I would be going
mhm.
because this is like I don't know how long it's gonna be there. I hope I get to see it before it leaves. But, when you sent that, I didn't realize that they brought it back.
Yeah.
And then when I saw who was starring in it, I was like,
Definitely.
"Oh my god."
Yeah.
So, Nichelle Lewis, I saw her perform in the revival of The Wiz last
Mhm.
year. My mom and I went to see it, and because, someone that I follow, Avery Wilson played Scarecrow. It was his first Broadway show, and he's an unbelievable vocalist. I send you his videos all the time, and
Mhm.
Stevie Mackey's his vocal coach, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, but Nichelle played, Dorothy, and
Mhm.
so I was like, "This kid, this girl, she's not a kid, she's 24, but I'm like, she has an unbelievable voice." She was the highlight of the show. I wasn't as
Mhm.
impressed. My mom and I we're like how you and I are. We're like the old couple up in the
I
Muppets,
know.
Statler and Walter,
Right,
right?
it's either a
That's
text
us.
message or the rule is 6 blocks. You can't talk shit about a show until you're 6 blocks
Right,
away, and then
right.
you can, like, or
Right,
it's
because you
like
never know who's around.
exactly, yeah,
So anyway, so we were very critical of the Wiz revival, but she was the standout, an
Mm.
absolute standout. So I'm glad to see because I was like, this girl's got a future that she's
Mhm.
in this show, and it's an iconic show. It won multiple Tonys when it first came out in 1998, and Audra McDonald
And Brian Stokes
played this
Mitchell.
original role
Yep.
of Sarah and won her 3rd Tony for this role. And
Mhm.
I happened to see her and what's his name,
Brian Stokes
Brian
Mitchell.
Stokes perform this at the Kennedy Center in the Martin Luther King
Oh,
annual
in concert, yeah,
celebration.
they did, like, the ragtime in concert, yeah.
Yes, and they did a reunion 20 years later and performed the
Mhm.
same song that you are about to show right
Mhm.
now with Nichelle Lewis and Joshua Henry, who I saw in Carousel in
Yeah, Josh
2018.
Henry
Oh
is
my god, the voice.
he is, first of all, like, the nicest person. He's always at my friend's Christmas party, and he's like I don't know him, but he's always just there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ogling because he's just so
Oh,
talented.
so talented.
He opens his mouth and just
What
another universe.
a
Just it's
unbelievable baritone,
unbelievable,
beautiful,
unbelievable.
like
And I just wanna
ugh.
say, if you're in New York and Misty Copeland said goodbye in Lincoln Center at ABT, this is literally 100 steps
Yeah,
away,
it's across the street, across
at
the
Lincoln Center.
square.
Yeah, at Lincoln Center. And the great thing about the show Ragtime, just wanna give
Yes,
some
the
background here.
storyline is so apropos for
It is
now.
it is the show of this moment. If you are
Yes.
in New York, if you can get here, if you can go on playbill.com or TDF or any of these websites and get some discount tickets, you can usually get in for I know that it's not super cheap, but there are ways around it.
Mhm.
I just want to read this here. It says the world of this show is largely defined by those on the outskirts. Turn of the century immigrants searching for a safe haven, subjugated Black communities grasping to keep hold of dignity. And then there are the Black sheep members of the wealthy white community, searching for meaning and their own kind of freedom. Mother begins the play bidding farewell to father, her husband heading out to sea for a year's polar exploration with Admiral Peary. Little does he know that such independence will push her to strip away layers of complacency and uncover the woman she truly wants to be. Goes on, and this is Josh Henry and Nichelle Lewis here, but this is
Yeah.
a story. This is like a truly American story
It
at the
is.
turn of last century,
That
and
turn
every group of people, their struggle, their story of
Mhm.
this American dream that we are all reaching towards, and
Yep.
so we look at it 100 and something years later in what we're living through now.
Mhm.
And what Black Americans and what immigrants and what Jewish Americans and all of
Mhm.
these people and women, um, you know, trying to survive in this white patriarchal country that
Yep.
we're living in and is trying to rise again and control
Mhm.
us all. It's a really it's a really poignant story. And
It is.
I know a couple people in the show. A friend of mine went to go see it last night, and she was like actually Instagramming about her waterproof mascara that she wore, and she was telling everyone, this is the one to wear because
Right.
I cried during the entire thing and there's nothing on my face. She's actually my friend who was in Les Mis that I was telling, that was at
Oh,
so it was
yeah.
that same friend. She was
Yes. Yes.
Tori Huston. So anyways, I say all that
Well,
to say, they
that's
were
that
on.
she should have made that for Suffs before we went to see that, because we
I
blubbered like
know,
idiots through the whole damn thing of Suffs, which was the show of the moment last year.
And yeah, and
And,
this is gonna win everything, for at least for the revivals. I think Josh
I
Henry
hope so.
certainly is gonna win. There's not really a doubt in my mind, but regardless, they were on Stephen Colbert, and you know Stephen Colbert is such a theater fan and
Yes.
really a true like appreciative artist and consumer of really great art, and he always gives a moment for these things to really breathe on his stages. Brian Stokes Mitchell,
Oh,
amazing.
I would have loved to
1998,
have seen the
1999.
original.
Yeah. And so this song is called Wheels of the Dream.
Such a beautiful
I can
song.
either play us out with it or we can come back on the other side. It's up to you.
No, I think we should play it out and let people enjoy the moment with this. It is an incredible song. The lyrics are really powerful, and I gotta tell you, the voices, there's just so much talent out there in the world, and music is life, and this is a bright spot for both Michelle and I
Yeah.
personally, and we love to share it with you guys.
I'd
So
love to share. And I just want to say also really
Yeah.
quick that one of my best friends from college, we've been best friends for 25 years, and I don't get to see her often. She's here staying with me. She runs the musical theater program at Florida State University, and she's here auditioning new kids. And we were talking about how this art form is kind of at its peak of, popularity, but also in its most danger because of the cost of education, the cost of living as an artist in major cities, and how really it's become a career really for rich kids, and it's unfair. And
And
it's
as you see the arts and DEI programs and things like that that are
Mhm.
taking this funding away. I mean, they destroyed the Humanities Council, they
Mhm.
destroyed the NEA, they're destroying funding that
Mhm.
helped to prop up programs like this and give access to kids that would not have necessarily had that access. Like, which ballet is not cheap. If you want to be a
No.
ballet dancer, you have to be able to pay for the shoes, which are incredibly expensive
Yeah,
because they're only made
if you
by
dance
one
on
person.
point, yeah, if
Yeah.
you dance on point and
To
you're
pay.
dancing at like a pair of shoes a day. Pair of
Right.
shoes a day.
That's
There's not
exactly
one
right.
pair that you get for a year. It's like
No,
multiple pairs a week.
every day, and it's like, and there's only like one company who makes the real ones, and
Mhm.
they are very expensive, and so,
And if
like
you're not white and you're black and you
That's
have
right.
darker skin, you have to dye them yourself, or at least until recently.
That's
And
right.
there's just been so many hurdles for people, and it's
Yes.
just it's kind of this very sad moment. Like, so I watched this. It's hard not to cry
Yeah.
because I want this to continue, but like there's no work, there's no jobs. It's $80,000 a year to get a BFA now. It's so $80,000 a year. I mean, it's outrageous. So anyways, to
Just
watch
so
this,
that people know what a BFA is, it's a Bachelor of Fine Arts, right? Yes.
yes, that's what I have. It's like a
Yes.
conservatory level.
It's
I
more
mean,
than just a theater degree. I said it,
yeah.
she's like, "It's a BFA." It is.
Yeah, I know. I
You
was
don't
like,
They're
it's a
like, "No, no, it's
BFA.
actually a
I
BFA."
don't have a BA.
I didn't wanna short shift you.
I know. So, but because there's meaning behind that. But
Yes.
anyway, so I will watch these two performers performing this song from this beautiful show of telling this most American story. It's the moment.
Yeah.
In
Wheels
every
of a
which
Dream.
way. Yeah, Wheels of a Dream. So I'm going to play this out. And everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting the Seneca Project. We hope that you will continue to support us. Please go to senecaproject.us, like and subscribe here on our YouTube channel, as well as across social platforms. Find us anywhere you can, Tara and myself as well. And we're going to play you out with Wheels of a Dream. And we'll
Yes.
see everybody next week. Bye, everyone.
Performing Wheels of a Dream, ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Henry and Nichelle Lewis from the Broadway production of Ragtime.
his face. I hear his heartbeat. I look in those eyes. How wise they seem. Well, when he is old enough, I will show him America, and he will ride on the wheels of a dream. We'll go down south and see your people. Won't they take to him like cats to cream? Then we'll travel on from there.
California, who knows where?
And we will ride on the wheels of a dream. Yes, the wheels are turning for us, girl, and the times are starting to roll. Any man can get where he wants to if he's got some fire in his soul. We'll see Justice Sarah and plenty of men who will stand up and give us our due. Sarah, it's more than promises. Sarah, it must be true. Our country that lets a man like me own a car, raise a child, build a life with you. Beyond that road, beyond this lifetime, that car full of hope will always gleam with the promise of happiness and the freedom he'll live to know. He'll travel with a head held high, just as far as his heart can go. And he will ride. Our son will ride on the wheels of a dream.
Ragtime is performing at the Lincoln Center Theater. Thank you so much. That's it for The Late Show. Good night.